In this episode, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, we will be learning about the life of Imaam Muslim, rahimahullah. And I was going to say he was a Muslim, but that's like the worst joke ever. But anyways, Imaam Muslim, rahimahullah, astaghfirullah, and his famous book, Saheeh, as we know it, so it's not the actual name, but as we know it, Saheeh Muslim, will come on to the actual name. And I just want to try to keep you engaged to the end as to the fact that I will mention a story as to how he passed away. Very interesting and eye-opening and emotional as well, you could say, very emotional. So try to stay to the end, inshallah. As I mentioned, my teacher, Fadilatul Sheikh Sulaiman al-Thunayan, who's a heavyweight in hadith, he comes to teach us in Kulliyatul Quran. He's a teacher in Kulliyatul Hadith. He comes to teach us, and we have no document that we go by or no book that we follow. He sits there, he sits on his chair, and we have to all come close, and he talks, and he dictates, and we have to make notes. Okay, so wallahi, it's an amazing way to learn. I've never experienced that kind of learning, but that's his method, his tariqah, his methodology. And I think it's actually amazing because that is true ilm. Okay, you all sit close together and you have to focus. Wallahi, if you don't focus, you're either gonna look silly by saying huh, like when he says a name, for example. There's a lot of names, of these people like Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani or al-Qastalani, for example. So you have to be fully focused, and that's how you gain the ilm, that's how you gain the knowledge. And moreover, you can't just miss a lesson and think, oh yeah, I'll memorize from the book, I'll revise from the book with the mudhakara, the revision notes. Okay, so I really enjoyed his methodology, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from him for passing his ilm on to myself and to the rest of the students that he teaches. And I just want to mention that he doesn't teach, like he's got his books, okay? But as a friend of mine mentioned, he doesn't teach us from a kitabun wahid, okay? He teaches us from kutub. He has like 3, 4, sometimes 5 books in front of him. Like he literally has that Tirmidhi or whatever book it is. He has it in front of him, and like he's opening one book, he's saying one thing, he's opening another book. So that's why I say he's actually a heavyweight. Okay, and I sincerely pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants him all the happiness and success in this life and the hereafter, because watching him teach us is what actually motivated me to do these videos for you guys as well. So let's all make dua for him together, and that we all reunite in Jannatul Firdaus. So Imam Muslim, ismuhu huwa al-Imam al-Hafiz Muslim bin al-Hajjaj bin Muslim bin Ward bin Kushad al-Qushayri al-Naysaburi. Okay, so he's from Naysabur. I think I went online after the lesson. I might have asked my teacher, I said, where is Naysabur? And it's in, I might be wrong, so correct me in the comments below, but it's in the area of Uzbekistan, okay, in Naysaburi. And his, or it is said, this is one opinion, that his lineage, he's actually Arab, okay, and وَكُنْيَتُهُ أَبُو الْحُسَيْنِ. So his nickname, he was known as Abu al-Husayn. I'll repeat his name one more time. هو الإمام الحافظ مسلم بن الحجاج القشيري النيسابوري أبو الحسين. He was born, okay, now when it comes to his birthday, okay, there's differing or conflicting opinions, because as my teacher said, like when he's born, nobody's really paying attention to his date of birth, okay, but when he passes away, everyone knows his date of birth by the T. So his date of death is known to the T, the exact time, the exact place, the exact date. But date of birth, because he wasn't famous, right? So you're not going to like, as in the reason his date of death is known because he was famous. So obviously everyone will, follow him. But date of birth is not the case. So there's conflicting evidences. Some say 201, some say 202 Hijrah. In the Dhahabi, ولد عام 204, so 204. But the qawl al-rajih, or the most correct opinion, عند الحاكم وابن الصلاح, and most of the scholars say ولد عام 206. 206. Okay, so he was born in 206 Hijrah. He began his studies of ilm, of Islamic knowledge, since he was a young boy, and he first heard hadith in the year 217. 217. So how old does that make him? It makes him 11 years old, okay? Based on the 206 ولد عام. And he would read to Yahya, al-Sheikh Yahya bin Yahya al-Tamimi. Okay, now I just want to make clear that if you've watched Imam Malik's video, or my video on Imam Malik, don't get confused with Yahya bin Yahya al-Laythi. Okay, al-Laythi, Yahya bin Yahya al-Laythi was Imam Malik's student and one of the ruwah of the Muwatta Imam Malik. But this is Yahya bin Yahya al-Tamimi, who was a famous scholar in Mecca, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, and he heard from him. Okay, in the year 2020, 220 للهجرة رحل إلى مكة for Hajj. He traveled to Mecca for Hajj with his mother and his brother. Okay, so at the age of 14, he traveled to Mecca, and that's where he met Abdullah bin Maslama al-Qa'nabi, who was from the biggest of shuyukh in Mecca. Sorry, Yahya bin Yahya al-Tamimi, I'm not too sure if he was from Mecca, so any muhaddithun, mashallah, can correct me there. But Abdullah bin Maslama al-Qa'nabi was one of the biggest shuyukh in Mecca at the time. Okay, yani I'm just basically what I'm saying to you is basically from my notes. Okay, what I've heard, I'm trying to relate back to you, so don't be too harsh on me, and don't be too harsh on me, and correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm not too fussed if I make small mistakes here there, because as I explained to you, the tariqah of the student learning from the teacher. He also traveled to Iraq and Sham, so Iraq, Syria, and Mosul, okay, which is in Palestine. We'll come to his date of death because we'll come to the story. He was from the Ahlus Sunnah. When we come to one of the final Imams, you'll understand why we mention the Aqidah. Okay, from his most famous shuyukh. One second, sorry. Okay, from his most famous shuyukh, Abu Abdullah al-Bukhari. Guess who that is? It is Imam Bukhari, rahimahullah. Okay, so Imam Muslim studied under Imam Bukhari, and as you'll realize, many from the Ashabu Sitta, the 6 authors of the 6 famous books, studied with Imam Bukhari. Abdullah bin Maslama al-Qa'nabi, Abu Bakr bin Abi Shaybah, Yahya bin Yahya al-Tamimi, and Ahmad bin Hanbal. We know the famous Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Abu Hafs Amr bin Ali al-Fallas, Muhammad bin Bashar al-Mulaqab bi Bandar, and as mentioned, Muhammad bin Ismail al-Bukhari, and he benefited from him, we took from him a lot. Okay, from all his shuyukh, he took from Imam Bukhari. So I think many of you wouldn't have known that. I definitely didn't know that Imam Muslim studied heavily under Imam Bukhari. From his talamid, from his most famous students, we have Abu Ishaq Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Sufyan al-Faqih. He's the most famous rawi of Saheeh Muslim. Ibrahim bin Abi Talib, Abu Bakr bin Khuzaymah, Abu Hamid ibn al-Sharqi, Abdul Rahman bin Abi Hatim al-Razi, and also, guess who? Al-Imam al-Tirmidhi. So he's one of the four remaining. So we've been through Bukhari, Muslim, and then we have Abu Dawud, and we have Tirmidhi. But he took from him a little, but he was still one of his students. We also have Muhammad bin Ishaq bin al-Abbas al-Fakihi, and Abu Iwana al-Isfira'ili. Okay. مكانته العلمية وثناء العلماء عليه. So that's like one of these subheadings. We have Ashhar al-Shuyukh, Ashhar al-Talamid, his place or his position in terms of the ilm, and what the ulama say about him. Now these are quite interesting, what the ulama say about him. In terms of his position in ilm, he was obviously one of the muhaddithun, okay, and yeah, he's from the Saheehain, so you can't really question anything there. And Muhammad bin Bashar said, حفاظ الدنيا أربعة. There are four حفاظ of the world. Abu Zar'ah Birri. Sorry, my notes are a bit all over the place. Okay, Birri, and then we also have Abdullah bin Abdul Rahman al-Darimi بسمرقند, Muhammad bin Ismail ببخارى, so that's Imam Bukhari. And number four is Muslim bin al-Hajjaj bin Naysapuri. Okay, bin Naysapur. Muslim bin al-Hajjaj bin Naysapur. Abu Abdullah ibn al-Akhram, Abdullah ibn al-Akhram, I think that should be Akram. إنما أخرجت نيسابور ثلاثة رجال, Muhammad bin Yahya al-Dhahli, Ibrahim bin Abi Talib, and Muslim bin al-Hajjaj. So from Naysapur came out three men, okay, men from the boys, and one was Muslim bin al-Hajjaj. Okay, from his authored works, obviously we have Al-Jami' al-Sahih, which is the actual name of Sahih Muslim. So, you know, Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari, these are like the famous names that have been given after time. But the actual name of the book is Al-Jami' al-Sahih. From his other works, we have At-Tabaqat, we have Al-Munfaridat wal-Wihdan, Al-Kuna wal-Asma', Al-Tamyiz, Al-Ikhwa wal-Akhawat, Al-Munfaridat wal-Wihdan. I'll mention this again for the students of knowledge, so if you have your exam, you can take this. الجامع الصحيح, الطبقات, التمييز, الكنى والأسماء, الإخوة والأخوات, المنفردات والوحدان, and did I mention الطبقات and التمييز? Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope that's clear. So far so good. In terms of him passing away, he passed away in Naysapur at the young age of 55. Okay, so from my memory, I think he was the youngest to pass away in terms of age. He passed away in, therefore, 261. 261 للهجرة. 261 take away 206 gives you 55 years old. فرحمه الله تعالى وجزاه عن الإسلام وأهل خير الجزاء. Ameen. We come to the emotional story of his death. Now, just to make clear, or just to caveat this is not a certified story. It's not authentic. Okay, this is one of these sort of recollections, one of these sayings. But as we mentioned, these ai''imma, they didn't just sit at home and just waste time as we do. They actually went out, they traveled to gain their ilm so that it can reach us, if you think about it. Okay? And they had a proper, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them, because at the end of the day, this is all hidayah, this is guidance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them with zeal and enthusiasm, ithbat, istiqamah. Ithbat is firmness, istiqamah, consistency, okay, to achieve such things in life. And to be honest, like these, they still had the same 24 hours in the day, if you think about it. So we shouldn't like think, oh, they were from back in the day and they had so much time. Okay, yeah, barakah in time is a different story. Wallahi, like this day and age, the barakah in our time is all over the place. Wallahi, you wake up and it's like it's gonna you do a few things and it's Maghrib, then you eat Isha, and that's the day done, subhanallah. But we should try to, use our time wisely, and we can, who says we can't reach these levels? We can try to come as close as we can. And just to the students of hadith, or any student of knowledge, just have the intention that what I'm doing here by studying this ilm is I'm preserving it for the later generations. If we all have the mindset that, oh, he'll do it or she'll do it, and the scholars in the past, they done it, and because of that it's just going to continue, wallahi, the ilm can get lost. Okay, so by us studying this knowledge, we should be proud of this. Okay, not proud in terms of arrogance, but we should take it on with enthusiasm and zeal and consistency, and say, you know what, I'm going to pass this ilm to the future generations, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will that's a really good thing. And obviously you have the inheritance. We are inheriting from the prophets. Nas'alullah al-qubula wa al-ikhlas. So in terms of the story of his death, so they had such zeal and motivation for the ilm, is that what happened is he was teaching his students. Okay, I'm going to say this to the best of my remembrance. I didn't make notes on this, but I remember the story like it was yesterday. I hope I say it correctly. He was sitting with his students, and one of his students, so somebody asked him about a certain book. Just thinking, sorry. I read somewhere why he wrote Imam Saheeh Muslim. Yeah, it was something about the fact that, we'll come to that. We'll come to that, inshallah, when we talk about Saheeh Muslim itself. I thought I had missed it out. So basically, when one of his students, so somebody asked him about a hadith, and he said, I don't know, something like that, about this hadith. And the person said, no, this is in your book that you've written. So you've written it in your own book. How can you not know? So that really got to him. These people, they were on point. That really got to him. So as soon as he got home, he was so focused in finding this hadith from his works. Okay, so he had all his papers, he had all his books. He was so focused that as soon as he got home, he started taking out all the books from his bookshelf. Okay, and he started frantically searching for this book, and in his for this hadith. And in his frantic search, one of a guest or someone had given him a massive box of dates. Okay, so instead of eating, we just eat, sit, relax. He came home and straight away he was like annoyed at himself, kind of thing, that I need to find this hadith. So he was eating the dates, and he was so involved or engrossed in his pursuit of finding this hadith that he finished all these dates. And they say because of that, he then immediately fell ill, and perhaps within 3 days, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he passed away from this illness. Rahimahullahu ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from him. We move on to, I just find that story a bit emotional if you think about it, man, because wallahi, the things that these ai did for us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from them, and like you're becoming ill because you're searching for knowledge. Different levels. Okay. Saheeh Muslim, his actual name is al-Jami' al-Sahih. And the reason he wrote this book is because he couldn't find, or he could only find in his time, books with weak ahadith. Okay? So he had the foresight or the vision that, I'm going to prepare a book which has only Sahih hadith, and similar to Imam Bukhari. And also, one of the people asked him that, like, where can I find a book with Sahih hadith? And that question from that random person, whoever it is, Allah reward him, made him think that I need to give this man an answer, and I need to prepare the book myself. Sometimes something comes to us and we think someone else will deal with it, or that person will deal with it, or this person will do it. But sometimes that thing has come. Okay, so you would have watched the other video from a couple of days ago where we introduced Imam Muslim, rahimahullah, and we were speaking about his death. I'm not too sure if I finished the story. I'll have to check that out. If not, then I'll make a complete separate video about his story. But we move on to Al-Jami' al-Sahih, or Al-Musnad al-Sahih, which is famously known as Saheeh Muslim. Two reasons he wrote this book. He could not find a book of hadith in his time, except that it had da'if hadith. So he thought, I should write a book. He had a vision, he had a view to write a book with a hadith sahiha. And also some people asked him to write a book which only has sahih hadith. So he wrote the book as an answer to their question. What was his manhaj, or his methodology, in terms of the structure of the book? Just one second. So in terms of his manhaj, we have so he begins with an introduction, and not all the hadith in the introduction meets his stringent requirements of authenticity, which he has adopted in the main part of his book, if that makes sense. So the conditions of his book were the authenticity, and we'll go through the conditions very shortly. But in the introduction, there is not all the hadith meet these conditions. Unlike Imam Bukhari, Muslim does not include chapter headings. So keep that in mind. In the book, if you see the book now, there will be chapter headings, and these were added by later commentators like Imam al-Nawawi. Okay? Similarly, he does not shorten and repeat hadith in his book like Bukhari. So we mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, Imam Bukhari, he shortens some hadith just to fit into the bab. So he'll just take the portion of the hadith that fits with the bab, and he also repeats some hadith. Muslim does not do this. Muslim only includes marfu' hadith, which is a statement, action, or tacit approval of the Prophet ﷺ, and does not include mawquf hadith, which mawquf means the statement of a sahabi, or mu'allaq, not accompanied by an isnad hadith. Moreover, for Muslim, the possibility of two narrators meeting is sufficient without the need to establish the meeting. So thubutul liqa is the condition of, for the rijal, for the isnad of Imam Bukhari, that they have to have physically met, not the possibility that they could have met. But for Muslim, the possibility is fine. So if they were in the same sort of area, then he's happy to say that, they most likely would have met. So in his book, there's only Sahih hadith, but it does not encompass all the Sahih hadith. So there are other Sahih hadith which are not mentioned. And Imam Muslim's Sahih was favored in some circles with some ulama due to its appealing structure compared to Bukhari, not due to Muslim surpassing Bukhari in authenticity. So we wouldn't say the authenticity of Muslim is more than Bukhari, but just the structure, the manhaj, the methodology was more favored with certain circles and certain ulama. الجواب العام نعم كل ما فيه صحيح. عدد الأحاديث without repetition, they say roughly تقريبا 3,000 and roughly 6,000, so 5,700 with repetition. Of course, Muslim and Sahih Muslim has a high status, as Imam Nawawi said, after the Quran is the Sahihain. And some ulama say أصح كتب الحديث بعد Sahih Muslim. Okay. From its narrators, Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Sufyan Abu Muhammad al-Qalanisi And from the shuruh, the commentaries, we have المعلم بفوائد مسلم لأبي عبد الله المازري، إكمال المعلم بفوائد مسلم للقاضي عياض، المفهم لما أشكل من تلخيص كتاب مسلم لأبي العباس القرطبي، صيانة صحيح مسلم لابن الصلاح، المنهاج في شرح صحيح مسلم بن الحجاج للنووي، الديباج على صحيح المسلم بن الحجاج للسيوطي، مختصر صحيح مسلم للمنذري. And that's it. That's the knowing of Imam Muslim and Saheeh Muslim. جزاكم الله خيرا. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. نسأل الله القبول والإخلاص.